Hello and welcome. My name is Trustin, and this is the Slavers of the Rim series. I'm not a very experienced RimWorld player as I only have about 36 hours in the game. However, I did want to start creating some kind of series, and I thought that being a slave trader would be rather interesting. Upon watching videos, I found that Randy Random was the most entertaining, so I decided to choose him. After some contemplation, I decided to go to Adventure Story, because that seemed to be right about where my level sits. I did randomize the seed for some time, however, right before clicking generate, I decided to type in trade and see what kind of seed we got. I have a handful of mods installed. I have Harmony, Rimpedia, Prepare Carefully, and Color-Coded Modbar. I use Color-Coded Modbar to help me identify some of my character's needs. After the initial look at the world, I did want to try something with mountains, and I would prefer a year-round growing since I, again, am not very experienced with the game. I've never left a planet. When looking at my character list here, or the colonists, I found that there are quite a few flaws, but I also find that playing with flaws make the game more interesting. So I didn't use my Prepare Carefully mod to redo some of the colonists, but instead just modified their relationship statuses. And here we go. The three of you awake from your crypto-sleep sarcophagi to the sound of sirens and ripping metal. You barely get to the escape pod before the ship's torn apart. Sometime later, you find this unknown RimWorld. As pieces of the shredded ship fall around you, you start making plans to survive. As our colonists fall to the new RimWorld, I zoom out and I take a look around, trying to establish where our base would be. I noticed something interesting. There's boomalopes, but along with the boomalopes, there's also an infestation inside the mountain. After noticing some jade and steel, I decide that the lower right-hand corner of the map is where we're going to establish our colony. I also noticed there's some runes, some gold. It looks like this might be a resource-rich environment. Also, we have a wolf as a pet, named Xanadu, which is a great name. After reminding myself who has what stats, it's time to equip some weaponry and set work orders. A stockpile is then established, and a roof is added. However, after some time, I realize that having a roof that large may cause a collapse, so I do some modifications. After the stockpile is set and we have people working on the roof, it's time to lay out some of our rooms. We see Colt hauling some of the metals. Meanwhile, Jenny and Trustin are putting up the roof over the stockpile. I was rather worried about having this timber wolf near our colony, so I decided to try to take it out. Colt and Trustin get armed, and you can see there that Trustin almost hit Colt twice. So after they regroup, time to fire again, and Trustin once again nearly misses Colt. I decide to stack them up so that way they have a less chance of firing upon each other. After being shot at numerous times by Colt and Trustin, the Timberwolf does eventually break and decide to fight back. stray bullet finds the Timberwolf. After setting up the stockpile, it's time to haul the wolf back to the den. While Jenny is setting up the very first of many buildings, after exploring a little bit, the roof gets put on, and we notice something odd. Love is in the air. I thought I had already set that up. However, it seems to just come naturally. After some time, some more blueprints are laid down for another room, since now we'll only need 2, along with the blueprints for a double bed and a single bed. I decided to take a look at some of the needs. I didn't realize that I had a transhumanist in the colony, nor did I realize that I had some major wounds on Trustin. It looks like if we get an Empire quest, that Colt will be the one to get the implant. At this time, I also noticed the serious pain that Trustin is having. As Colt seems to be the doctor of the group, I went ahead and allowed him to self-treat. As the day starts winding down in the rim, I decided to throw up some sleeping areas. As Trustin throws up the walls to our second building. I'm looking at how we're going to lay out defenses in this base. I'm going to try to block off the bottom area, then the bottom left area. However, it does look like Trustin built that bed, so I'm going to try to relocate it before sleepy time. However, I don't think I'll have a chance, since it's already pretty late. As Colt lays down on the floor to go to sleep, Trustin tucks himself in the bed. Jenny eats a meal and soon joins him. We can see the lovebirds as we cut out to the next day. I had just planted crops, and both Trustin and Colt are working on them, when I decided I was going to lay out the next big room, which would be the common room. I later decided to attach a kitchen and a butcher area to that common room. As it looks like I finished the second building, I was pretty happy. However, as you can see, I did forget the door. Again, I am not very experienced with RimWorld, so I did have a look at their workstations and seeing who was supposed to be doing what. As we watch Jenny botch a couple of those constructions, that's precious steel that's going to waste. I laid out some mining areas, and then realized that I'm going to need power of some sort to keep my food cold. Just as I thought about that, there's some travelers that decided they were going to pass through, and I noticed a herd of buffalo up there. Thinking about our defenses in the near future, I laid down a stone cutting table as I wanted to start cutting some granite for the walls down south. Then that problem of power came up again. Eventually, I settled on placing the windmill, or the wind turbine, just north of the base. We had almost a full area that the turbine could sit. All I would need to do is mine out 2 pieces of marble. I saw that some of the trees were getting in the way of producing power, so I decided to place an order to cut them. I also noticed that there was some heel root there. Go ahead and harvest that. We not only have both bedrooms built, but we also have our common room, butchering area, and our kitchen. I decided to give them a table and some chairs so they could eat while sitting down, because it looks like they've earned it. They've been working very hard. I didn't quite think this through. I decided that the bigger area would be the butcher area, but then I decided against it. And as I was thinking about this, Trustin has a shoot frenzy for 8 days. I think I'll have to send him on a hunting trip. A little while later, I've revamped how I'm going to do my kitchen and butcher area, and I placed down a AC unit and a vent to keep both areas cold. As Jenny mines, Colt chops some trees, and Trustin does his thing, dusk comes across day 2 of the rim. I quickly decide to move the stone cutting table inside, so that way we won't have a work penalty. I also lay down some plans for some lighting, as I think lighting is rather important to a lot of colonists. The colonists work well into the night, and then it's time for some rest. At this point is when I decided that I would give Colt any kind of psychic ability, so that way he doesn't have that debuff anymore. After realizing my colonists have been working so hard, and I haven't given them much recreation, I decided to put down a horseshoe ring and a chess table. And then it's some good news, as we have a psychic soothe for all the males in the colony, and we have 2 males and 1 female, so this is a fantastic thing. And as I'm scanning the area, this is where we will start wrapping this session up. we see that one of the travelers from before didn't quite make it all the way through the infested area. And with that, I would like to thank you for watching the first episode of this series. If you have any feedback, feel free to leave it in the comments. Thank you.